Are you telling listing brokers that you won't show their property if no compensation is being proactively offered? If you are, if you've been guilty of that, please stop immediately. That's not a good thing to say, not a smart thing to say. And I also want to point out to some of you that that can come off as steering. Now, I recognize that there may not be any malicious, selfish intent in you saying that, because you may have already talked to your client about it. The clients may have said, I don't want to see properties that aren't offering compensation to my agent because I don't want to come out of pocket to pay my agent. Even if your client told you that, do not let whether compensation is being offered or not get in the way of you showing a property. Okay? I see nothing wrong. And in fact, in many ways, it's right to reach out to a listing agent and inquire if compensation is being proactively offered. But you can't do that and then say, oh, I don't want to show it, or I'm not going to show your listing because you're not offering it. That's not a wise thing to say, and it can come off as steering. And if you are doing it because you're worried about your own pocket, and your own pocket is dictating what homes you show, you're completely wrong and you should not do that. Now, I realize, because of my vast experience and our wonderful realtors here at the company, that it's difficult for an agent to truly do that. Buyers drive the process. Buyers are the ones dictating what properties to see in most cases. In many cases, buyers are coming to listing agents. Buyers are going to their buyer's agents and they're saying, hey, I want to see this house. I want to see that house. It came to me in an email. I found it online, whatever. But you've got to make sure that the decision to see a property or not see a property is a decision that your buyer is ultimately making and your buyer is involved in. Don't ever be making those decisions on behalf of a buyer. I recognize that most aren't doing that. But I've heard enough stories now nationally over the last couple of weeks that it concerns me. And I want those of you to know, those of you who aren't versed in the lawsuit and versed in exactly what is going on, that you are essentially, if you make a statement to a listing agent, like, I'm not showing your listing, you're essentially playing right into the hand of the plaintiff's attorneys and the concern out of the Department of Justice. Most of their beliefs are entirely misguided and wrong. But when you make statements like that, you make them look like they are right. Again, I recognize that you may not be making it with malicious, selfish intent. Okay? Selfish being, I'm worried about my own pocket. But you need to make sure to complete your sentence when you're talking to a listing broker. If a listing broker in this day and age, now that we're past August 17th, says to you, my seller's not offering compensation proactively. If you'd like compensation, put it in your offer or make it part of your offer or however you structure the deal. That is a perfectly okay answer. Do not allow that to deter you from showing that property. You should still be showing that property. I've said to all of our realtors here at our company and all of our training customers and all of those who have bought our Getting Paid in Real Estate the New Way course, I said, continue to encourage your buyer to see the homes that they want to see, regardless of whether compensation is being offered or not, and regardless of whether a high amount of compensation or a low amount of compensation or the compensation that you're hoping to get is being offered or not. The compensation being offered should not dictate what you show. It also should not dictate what you are willing to make an offer on. Now, it's entirely appropriate to inquire about it. Entirely appropriate to inform your buyer about it. I have talked about that. And for the home buyers watching, I hope I'm giving you some background and some information into what goes on in the brokerage world, into how things are working now. Okay? Totally appropriate and called for to discuss the costs with your buyer. To say to your buyer, hey, they're offering X in compensation. Keep in mind, you and I had agreed to Y. Going to be a little bit of a difference there. Don't worry, we'll work it out when we get to offer time. That's an appropriate explanation. But you should encourage, never discourage showing a property, regardless of whether compensation is being offered or not. Now, if a buyer tells you, I don't care, I don't want to see it, well, that's the buyer's choice. okay? But you should not be pushing them in the direction of not seeing it. You should be pushing them in the direction of seeing it. I also want to mention, there are many ways for a buyer broker to get paid. And one of the things that I have realized in the last few weeks is many buyers brokers are not aware of that. Okay, I sometimes get in my own bubble where I think all the agents out there are like our agents here who are receiving my training. There's many ways to go about getting paid. You can write it into your offer and request some amount of compensation from seller. Even the Department of Justice says that's totally appropriate. And then you end up negotiating how much and all that within the offer. You also can make an offer and request a closing cost credit or seller's concession. Put some or all of that closing cost credit towards the compensation going to the agent. Or the buyer, in some cases there are buyers who are willing to pay it out of pocket. Not very many, not pretty much no first-time buyers, but that is a thing that can be done. That is a strategy. And I want to make sure that all realtors realize that. So here's what I'm going to offer out to everyone. We have come up with pre-typed language to help agents put these things into their offers. Of course, no mentions of compensation. But we do have language that we feel is appropriate to put into an offer to recommend, to request a seller to pay compensation to your brokerage. We as a brokerage are getting it from sellers, paying it from sellers, not doing it broker to broker. So if you would like to receive that pre-typed language so that you could use it in your offers, put your email address in the comments, okay? Put your email address in the comments. We're going to share this. This is something I haven't even told people in our company here yet. I'm going to do it because I want to help realtors. I want to help home buyers. I want to help home sellers. As I've said on the news 3 times in the last 2 weeks, it is more important than ever that you home buyers are working with realtors that know what they're doing, working with realtors that know how to write these things into contracts, working with realtors who know how to negotiate these things. If you are working with a realtor who is even 1% of them deterring you from seeing a property because of too little compensation being offered or no compensation being offered, you should get a new realtor. I have encouraged all our realtors to still encourage buyers to see properties, still encourage buyers to go after properties. So if you're a realtor and you'd like to see that pre-typed language that we've created for when a closing cost credit is requested, for when the compensation is requested through the offer from seller. If you want that pre-typed language, leave your email. By Monday morning, we're going to send an email out with that pre-typed language to you all. I hope that makes sense. I'll be out with another detailed video probably the week after next. I have quite a busy week next week. I'm going to the RIS Media CEO Exchange in Washington, D.C. Terrific event. I'll be there for the week. But the week after, I'll do another detailed event and I'll break this down more. But I felt the need to urgently get this message out now. I hope what I've explained makes sense. Be sure to continue to tune into Crush It in Real Estate on YouTube and recases.com, where all of my videos are related to everything with these cases and getting paid and everything else. That's all, my friends. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.